the Minnesota Wild have made what many are now calling a major trade before the NHL trade deadline, acquiring Gustav Nyquist once again. We're going to be talking about what this trade means and why the reaction to this trade is not all that people are liking to be. We're going to be talking about all of that here in this video. Before we get into it, though, folks, start of a brand new channel. We're going to get all of our Wild news here. If you're looking for a spot for all of your Wild news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button. Join us here on the channel. We're covering everything Minnesota Wild. Without any further ado, let's get into this trade. A very, very interesting one starting out here. From NHL Puck Report, coming from the Minnesota Wild and Nashville Predators. The Minnesota Wild have acquired Gustav Nyquist from the Nashville Predators for a 2026 second-round pick. Now, Gustav Nyquist also comes with 50% retention, but looking at the Minnesota Wild, what we've been seeing lately, it has been a necessity that they make a trade for a capable forward to be able to play game in, game out, and heading into this playoffs due to the sheer amount of injuries that this team has made. Now, on the surface level, I do like this trade. Obviously, second-round pick is really not something I think I'd love to give up for a guy like Gustav Nyquist. Maybe a couple years ago, yes, but right now, the way he's been playing this season, no. A lot of this due to the retention, however, 50% gives the Wild a lot of wiggle room to head into the trade deadline, make a few more moves, and especially with the contracts of Kirill Kaprizov, the future contract of what likely will be Joel Eriksson Ek heading on the LTIR as well, creates around $15 million. So only spending $1.5 million on Gustav Nyquist here is certainly something that will make sense for the Wild as we head into this year. But we have to remember as well, it is a rental contract, and when we're looking at Gustav Nyquist this season, this is a very good quote to kind of sum up what a lot of Wild fans are thinking about this trade, is that they did not expect Gustav Nyquist, who has 9 goals and 21 points in 57 games this year, to get Nashville a second-round pick. Now, this actually comes from a Predators reporter, and it seems like even the other side of this trade are very, from their point of perspective, excited about getting a second-round pick in return for this deal, but Wild fans, the same reaction, but just the opposite kind of opinion based on this. So we're going to kind of delve into why a second-round pick was pretty necessary to make a trade like this and how this is going to be, one of the more essential moves the Wild have made here in this trade deadline thus far. Now, looking at this Gustav Nyquist deal, it was 50% retained. That second-round pick really kind of made that happen. And when you're looking at a guy like Gustav Nyquist, who is 35, he is also a centerman, plays the wing, has, been more of a winger this year. However, the center is a big part of this, being able to have that extra center if need be. And from right now, it don't seem like the Wild are going to play him at center, but we know the injuries and kind of the depth issues that the Wild have had at that position now this season. But for $1.5 million, acquiring Gustav Nyquist certainly is a big asset, especially for the way that we're looking at this, what Daily Faceoff has here as having Gustav Nyquist as the second-line right winger here for the rest of this season. Now, of course, things will be bound to change when injuries return, players from injury return, and, we even may see him at the middle at some point. Hutsi got sent down to the AHL. That's not in a screenshot here in this video, but he was sent down, and David Jiricek called up once again due to the injuries on the defensive side of things, trying to get Brodin out, trying to get this defense kind of locked down to be a big part of this team and how the future has, kind of played out to be for this year with David Jiricek being called up. But heading back to what we have on Gustav Nyquist, this season, as you've kind of seen that last screenshot, really not the best player of this year. -20. Now, we know the Nashville Predators by no means are a good team this season. They've been really struggling, and really goes to show the kind of trade deadline they're having by trying to get as much as they can with a second-round pick for Gustav Nyquist here. But looking at Gustav Nyquist, we've been able to see in his career and, front hand as well, playing previously, that he is a very, very solid player. Even at 35 years old, he's still very quick, still very skilled with the puck, and it's going to be a guy that really suits the Wild's build right now. Looking at the offense of this, and I'll kind of go back to the lines here, you're playing him with some very quick forwards, some very skilled forwards in this top 6 here. He's going to suit in there really, really well. Now, of course, when Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov come back too, he will likely be moved down just a bit, maybe here or there, maybe thrown up onto a line. It still all depends on how he's going to play him, how he really fills in with this line and kind of fills up the lineup at the end of the day. And I do think that he will have a much more major impact, because when you're playing with better players, and even though we're playing with Matt Boldy and Freddie Gaudreau in the middle at the time being, still could be bound to change. But looking at that and having guys like Liam Ogren and Hutsi sent down, it does give the Wild a bit more of an opportunity to play him with some more, not some more experienced players. I don't want to say some inexperienced players, but giving him the opportunity to play with Matt Boldy, someone who's been around for a while, someone who's been playing excellent as of late and played with some of the top players in the NHL, playing with Freddie Gaudreau, a guy who's been around, has been a very, very quality center for the Wild for the past few years. It gives him that opportunity to play with the NHL experience that he's used to playing with over his career. And I think that's a very important part of what we have to think of as well when it does come down to the moves that the Wild are going to make. And looking at his last 5 games, I think one thing that not a lot of people realize is that he plays a very hefty chunk of minutes per game. And you see last game he played 21-32 against Winnipeg. Now, I do believe, although it could be a bit of an anomaly here, which it kind of is, normally 16 to 17 minutes is where we see him, but this was a showcase for him, and the Wild must have seen what they like to be able to go and get him. Now, obviously, would be in a bit of a different scenario if injuries didn't happen, if players were still healthy here, but Gustav Nyquist, I think, is a very, very good filler, at least for this point, for the Minnesota Wild, until we get to the playoffs, and obviously, being a rental this year is the main focus for him, but being able to play these top-line minutes is something the Wild desperately wanted on the forward side of things, especially when you have a lot of young guys who are playing well above their weight class, and I think that adding him to this now, playing 17, 18 minutes there on that second line, maybe around that line, around that timeline, I think will be a good fit for him. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this move. I think I'm very excited to see how, once again, Gustav Nyquist can slot into a team not just where they're making the playoffs, they're on track to make the playoffs, but a team that has been very solid as of late, but still need that consistent momentum to keep going and going and going and really make a push. And that's the kind of player Gustav Nyquist is. He's a guy that plays till the whistle, plays till the buzzer. He, he's just a dog, I think is a good way of putting it. And once again, that's the way this Wild team is built as to what they wanted here at this deadline. And still more moves to be made, because when we look at the bottom here, and of course, Hootsie and Liam Ogren sent down today. That was not in a video here, but I should have put that in a screenshot. But it gives the Wild a few more opportunities up here to make some room for players in the trade deadline. And of course, Gustav Nyquist coming into this lineup is going to be something that a lot of players here are very excited about. I think a lot of fans should be excited about as well. Second round pick, though, pretty steep, let's be honest here. I want to know what you guys think about that as well. Heading back to the trade here, actually. The 2026 second round pick for 50% retention. Not the greatest, I guess we could say, in terms of value, but I think it's something the Wild would felt very comfortable doing, or else they wouldn't have done it. It's someone that they trust. It's someone that will really have a big outcome on the end of this season and really guide them to a much stronger year with that experience. And once we hit the playoff experience, that's where this team really lacks because of how young they are. But we do have some very good players here that will have some experience. Marc Andre Fleury, Gustav Nyquist, just to name a few. And I'm very excited to see how this does progress. But that's all I got in this video. Let me know, once again, what you think about this trade right here. It is a very interesting one. I think a lot of people are going to have some mixed opinions on it, but at the end of the day, it's something that the Wild needed to do, although, you got to pay for what you need. That's, I think, the biggest answer here for this trade. So let me know what you think in the comments below. It's all I got. If you did enjoy it, give it a like, hit the sub button as well, and remember all of your Minnesota Wild news right here on the channel. We got a lot of stuff coming. Stay tuned. But thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day, and see you later.